frequently asked, is there a housing shortage here in Houston County?
Yes, there is a housing shortage here in Houston County, and that's why the houses are selling so fast now. Whether it's a new construction house, which is typically selling before it's ever framed up, or if it's a resale. Most of the resales that we're listing right now are selling within days of listing them, usually within the same 3 or 4 days or even a week that we list them.
Hi, I'm Leslie Huggins with Homes by Leslie and RPI Real Estate Services, and I'm here with Bill Waldorf today, and we were talking about the housing shortage here in Houston County. So I know that it's a housing shortage pretty much across the whole United States, but in your opinion, what is really causing it here and locally?
Well, not just locally, but the problem we have here locally is the same problem that's across the United States. And it goes, there's so many factors, but one of the main things is the shortage of materials and the waiting time that it takes to get materials. And that's not just lumber, that's like plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, appliances, especially appliances. And that roots back to the labor shortage. There's a huge labor shortage all across the United States right now, and probably even outside the United States, is causing a lot of these delays. And it's just caught up to us here in middle Georgia, and I don't see an end to it anytime soon, but I know there will be an end to it at some point. So.
Yes, I replaced my fence back not even a year ago, and had I waited, it would have cost me probably twice as much to replace my fence,
Yeah.
and would to include two gates.
Yes, had you waited, the material cost would have been more than double. A good example is we're heavily involved in new construction, and a 4x8 sheet of OSB was $9 3 years ago. That same sheet of OSB today is anywhere between $39 and $42 per sheet, depending on where you go. So that's 4 times more than it was just 3 years ago. So you get an example of how the building materials have gone up. Appliances are the same way. I just did a dishwasher replacement at one of our remodels, and I paid more than double last week what I paid for that exact same dishwasher 3 years ago, and I had to wait 5 weeks to get it. Whereas there used to be an overabundance of items like that in any of the local stores, such as Lowe's or Home Depot or any of the main appliance stores around here.
And then one of our places, we actually had to replace one of the windows, and that was considerably more than what it would have been.
Yes, we did a recent window replacement on a Palladium window, and I had sticker shock. And once I woke up, I realized that was more than double what I would have paid for that same window just a few short years ago. And those are typical building material expenses that have jumped up, but also the labor pool is the labor that we do get is that they're demanding a lot more than we normally would have paid 3 years ago. So the labor costs. So like on new construction right now, we cannot even give a buyer a final price on the house until it's really close to being finished. There's no way to determine what the final cost of that house is going to be. Say if we started it today, we don't know what the final cost is going to be in 4 to 6 months when it's finished. That's another thing. It used to take us 90 to 120 days to build a new house. Nowadays it's taken 7 to 8 months because of all these shortages of both labor and materials.
Yes, yes. So what we used to recommend is if you couldn't find a house that was resale, you would move to new construction. But now it's almost you don't even have that as an option, because you don't know when that new construction house is going to even be available to be able to buy that. So it's actually quicker to get into a resale. However, you have to have your offer accepted.
Yes, resales are a whole other story right now. There's such a demand for resales that they typically go under contract in less than a week, and more so even 3 or 4 days sometimes, and usually these days for more than what the house is actually listed at. So the shortage has affected movement. Period. Even in the rental market, there's a shortage of rentals. There's a shortage of resale homes to buy. So a lot of people are staying put, even though if you look at the numbers, lots of houses are being sold all across the country, and right here in Houston County, there's still a lot of movement and a lot of houses being sold. It's just there's not the usual time or inventory time on the market that there would be in a normal economy. So.
Yeah, so just in January, we had over 300 properties that were listed, but most of those have either are new construction that haven't sold, but what we do have is that has closed out was 257 properties. So the properties are moving and there are homes available. It's just you've got to be on the lookout for those as soon as they become available.
Yeah, that's true. A good example would be just in the Houston County area here. Typically on a given day there will be an inventory supply of about somewhere around the 200 houses, around 200 houses available. Whereas 5 years ago, that number, there would be a typical inventory supply of over 1,200 houses available. So that would give you a good idea of what we're facing here right now.
Yes, as soon as they pop up as being available, then you have a lot of buyers that are out there anxious to be able to get their offer accepted.
Yes, we have some houses. A good example is I listed one recently. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I went live with it. By 5 o'clock that afternoon, we had 31 offers on it. We wound up taking an offer which is much higher than list that had come in at 8:45 that morning. So that's just how fast this is operating now. That lucky seller sold his house in literally one day or less than one day.
Yes. Just having the electronic means of being able to see a home that's through so many different websites that's going to become available, you always know when you've hit that shoot out to all the other websites online, because all of a sudden that phone just starts ringing because everyone's wanting to see it. So luckily right now the sellers have that fact of being able to get their home out there to everyone, but at the same time you're wishing you'd had a little bit of time to breathe.
Yeah, the old days of driving customers around to look at houses are long gone. You can there's so many different ways to do that now through video or just meeting the customers at the houses, and many houses are selling nowadays without the customer even seeing the property, period. That's how the shortage has affected the buyers. The buyers are willing to take their chances and just watch a video tour of the home before putting their offer in, instead of making an arrangement to wait several days later to come and look at it. That's something it's not 100% new, but lately is a lot more prevalent than it ever has been in the past.
So a lot of times I have that, well, I'll just wait for a house. But then again, we don't know. We don't have that crystal ball to look in there that if you do wait to be purchasing a home, are the prices going to go up even higher, or the interest rate's going to go up higher? I mean, you don't know what those particular options are going to be. So, I mean, right now, if you're qualified for a $300,000 home and the interest rates go up, chances are you're not going to be able to afford quite 300. It's going to be 275 to closer to 250. So we always recommend to get that pre-approval in so you can go with your numbers, review those numbers with your lenders so you know what you can afford, what you can't afford, and so that we can know, if 300 price range is what you're looking into buying, then are you going to be able to afford that $300,000 should the interest rates go up?
Yeah, with this shortage, that's another point. In order to get your offer looked at, much less accepted, you want to make sure you are fully pre-approved before you ever go shopping. When realtors send me offers over the internet, the first thing I want to know is, are they approved, or do they just have a little online pre-approval from? Yeah, so you want to be fully prepared before you ever go shopping for the house to begin with.
Well, because the seller is reviewing so many different offers, they want to make sure that if they do pick a particular offer, that person, the buyer or buyers, are serious about buying that property. They're going to go through the long haul of getting that house off the market, because we have so many other buyers that are wanting to look at that house and purchase that house as well.
That's true. That's true. Another way the housing shortage has affected the purchasing of houses nowadays, in most cases, the buyers are actually paying 100% or close to 100% of the closing costs, which in the past that was almost unheard of. But right now, these sellers, they're wanting to get the highest and best offers, and the highest and best offer, it could be the same price, but who's paying that closing cost? So that's been something that's been a little bit unusual with the housing shortage, seeing the buyers paying, absorbing all those closing costs.
Yeah, so if you are working with a realtor that you want to discuss all of your options that you have available as a resource, so that when you do make an offer, that that seller is able to know what your highest and best is. Because for the most part, it's not a back and forth like you could be, where you put in a counter offer. Most likely, any of the listings that we have, it's the highest and best offer, and that's the one that's going to be considered. Again, my name is Leslie Huggins with RPI Real Estate Services and Bill Waldorf, and we appreciate your time today. And please reach out to us if you have any questions or decisions that we can help you make, so that we can either help you to purchase a home or to sell a home and get that home sold. So we look forward to catching up with you again soon, and please reach out. You take care and have a blessed day.